Hello everyone, this video is about the homework B1 with sections 3.2 and 3.4. I gave this homework for you for the term break. It is because I think this is quite easy. Without some prior knowledge, you can still do it. However, in this video, I would also like to take this chance to have some teaching materials so that you can understand more about what functions is and also what formulas are. So in mathematics, function is a special term. It does not mean something like 功能, but it has some special meaning. So what does it mean? In the previous section, we learned something related to general term, right? For example, we say Tn equals to 3n plus 2. So what does this general term mean? It means that whatever n takes some values, then you can find the final result of the term. If I want to find the first term, then I will put n equals to 1. Like this. If I want to find the second term, then I will put n equals to 2, like this. So it means that if I input one value, I will have one outputted value. So you can see that this is an input process output relationship. As you can see from the textbook here, it means if you input one value, you will have one outputted value. If you input 1, then you will output 5 after some process of this function. If you input 2, then you will output 8, just like what you calculated just now. So we say that Tn equals to 3n plus 2 is a function. So how do we call it in a mathematical term? We say that Tn is a function of n. It means we input the value of n, then we will have the output Tn. I have one input, one output. This is called function. Apart from the previous notation, we may also write something else. For example, we write y equals to 5n squared plus 4. Then we can also say y is a function of n because we input the value of n and then I will get the output y. For example, if I put n equals to 2, actually we can put n as whatever value I like. When n equals to 2, then we'll write y equals to 5 times 2 squared plus 4, which is equal to 24. So this is also an input process output relationship where we input the value of value of n and then we will output the value of y as 24. Another example may be like w equals to 4a squared minus a. Then we can also say w is a function of a because when we input a certain value of a and then you get the value of w. For example, if I have the value of a as 5, then w has the value 95. So the key point for a function is that we have only one input, one output. Okay, so let's summarize. The key point is like here, one input, one output, then we say that this is a function. Alright, so now we move on to some homework question and hope that I can tell you more about the presentation and you can see how you work on this homework. Let's say look at number 11. So we are going to find the value of y because y is a function of x. So by inputting x equals to 3, x equals to 8, then we can calculate the value of y. So for example, let me show you how we present the answer for 11a. So we first need to write when x equals to 3, because x can take whatever value we like, but when x equals to 3, then we can find the value of y. Y equals to 6 times 2 minus. So I suggest you to put the bracket when you substitute the value of x here because always you can see what value you substitute, especially if they involve some square or whatever. It will be actually nicer as a presentation. Alright, so the next step, you can already directly jump to the final answer, or if you like, you can show one more step for calculation, but this is not really necessary. The final answer will be negative 6 over 5. So let me explain to you that the negative sign should be put outside the fraction as the final answer. Alright, so for part B, you may work on it on your own. Actually, some of you may ask, do we need to copy the original expression? For example, like that, y equals to 6 times 2 minus x over 5. Of course, A is very good, right? I suggest you can do so. Of course, this is for better comprehensibility. Alright, so that's for number 12. We may also work on a certain part for you. Let's say for part A, we write when x equals to 3. So next line, you're going to substitute the value 3 into the original expression, which is y equals to 3 times 3 squared minus 25 times 3 plus 14. So this is called the substitution steps. So next you are going to calculate 3 squared first. It means that 3 times 9. And then the next step is 75 and then plus 14. All these calculation parts can be skipped as long as you get the perfect answer. But I suggest you to write something for me so that I can follow what you're thinking. 3 times 9, it is correct. And then the next step, it is about 3 times 9 first, 先乘除後加減, and then minus 75 plus 14, and the answer would be negative 34. That's finished. Okay, so for part B, you may work on it on your own. Remember to write when something. Okay, so next we move on to 3.4, formulas and method of substitution. I think this section is also quite easy, so you may follow it even without much teaching. You can still do this homework. I only want you to be able to distinguish between what formulas and equations are, because they are actually having different meaning, but they look very much the same. Remember what's meant by equation? This is an example of an equation, and you can see that there is only usually one unknown at this level, but of course there may be more unknowns later. But for an equation, you can always find a certain values like this. You can find x equals to 4, and we say that x equals to 4, x is an unknown, and then we are going to find the value there. However, when we are looking for formulas is actually is also an equation, but it is a relationship between or among a few like 2 or more variables. For example, we say a equals to bh. It is a formula. As you can see that we cannot find a, right? Because we don't know what the values of b and h are. Of course, finally, you may put in some values. But at this moment, it is a formula because it is the relationship among a, b, and h. And what a, b, h are? Let me show you this example. It is actually a relationship among area, length, and width. So we say a equals to bh. This is an eternal fact. It is always true. Wherever b and h are, and I can still use this formula to find a. So why we say that this is a formula? Because it's always true, so that we can plug in some value. How do we plug in some value? As long as, for example, we say I know the area is 100 cm squared, and then I know the length is 2 cm, and then I can use these values to find width. Let's say, give you an example. So using this, you can find out the value of h if I know the value of a and value of b. It means that for a formula, it is something always true, but after we plug in some values with only one unknown left, then we can make it as an equation. Like 100 equals to 5h, it is an equation in one unknown, then you can find the remaining unknown's value. Okay, so that is about formula. Let's look at how we do these questions, and what you need to do is just try your best to solve for the values using an equation. I gave you these like 19 up to 25. I think you will manage to do this question on your own. However, let me show you how to present the answer so that you will not need to do all the corrections for every question. Let me show you how to do this number 20. You are having three values a, s, and t. So you are going to find out the remaining unknown u. So you have to write when a equals to 4, s equals to 460, t equals to 10. It is the inputted value. And then after the substitution, you will have one equation in one unknown. So we write u and then bracket 10 for the substitution step. And then plus 1 over 2 times 4 times 10 squared. So the next step is only by calculating the remaining value. It means then 10u plus 1 over 2 times 4, it is 2, and then times 100, it is 200. And then you are solving for u, so you have 10u equals to 260, u equals to 26. And that is all you need to write for number 20. Easy. So let me show you some a bit more complicated question. Let's say if I'm going to find the value of r for number 23, it may look a little bit complicated after you substitute the values. So first of all, of course, you have to write when a equals to 9, s equals to 27. So you have 27 equals to 9 over 1 minus r. So how can you find r? As you can see that 1 minus r as a whole is a denominator on the right hand side. So you have to multiply 1 minus r to the left hand side. So you have this. In order to solve for r, there are two ways. The first way, maybe you feel it a little bit more likely to use, let's say 27 minus 27r. It is by removing brackets, expanding the brackets. So you have negative 27r equals to negative 18. For r, you divide it by negative 27, so you get 2 over 3. This is one of the ways. The second way, of course, you can also treat 27 as something you multiply, so you divide by 27, you get 1 over 3 on the right hand side. And then for r, it is like r, you put it to the right hand side, becomes plus r, and then 1 minus 1 over 3. It is 2 over 3, and that is the answer already. Okay, number 24 has also some level of complexity, so let me show you how to do. When f equals to 4, u equals to 6 is something everyone knows how to do, and then the next step is 1 over 4 equals to 1 over 6 plus 1 over v. So this question is a little bit challenging because v appears in the denominator, and how can you find v? You cannot suddenly change it by upside down, making everything upside down. It means you cannot say 4 equals to 6 plus v. That is wrong because this is not a legitimate operation on both sides. However, how can you deal with that? You can still find the value using the operations that we are familiar with. Let's say plus, minus, multiply, divide. Okay, so you can minus 1 over 6 to the left hand side, so you have 1 over v, and then you can calculate this 1 over 4 minus 1 over 6, and what is that? That is 3 over 12 minus 2 over 12. Of course, that step can be skipped, and you can write 1 over 12 directly. So 1 over v equals to 1 over 12, then you can use like countersigns and cross multiplication, and you get the value of v. v equals to 12, and that is the answer. Alright, so you can do the remaining on your own, and I hope to see a very perfect homework this time. Good luck.